You're listening to the Naptime Empires podcast with my mom, Nikki Elledge Brown. Mom, your show's on.
Thanks, bud. I got it from here. Welcome to the Naptime Empires podcast, refreshingly honest conversations on the realities of parenthood and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Nikki Elledge Brown. Let's get started. My whole mission with this podcast is to let you know that you're not alone. I want to peel back the curtain so you know you're not the only one changing poopies while muted on a conference call with your assistant. You're not the only one wondering if it's all worth it. You're not the only one hiding in your closet to record a podcast. You're not alone. And in this mini special episode, I just want to give you an introduction, a little bit about me, although that's really what episode 1 is about. A little bit more about my vision for Naptime Empires, what you can expect, and what I would love from you. I want you to play an active role. I mean, selfishly, this is a passion project for me, but it's also for you, and you play a key role. So I'm going to tell you more about that too. It's hard to put my story in a coconut shell because it's going to sound like a cheesy highlight reel, which is why I really encourage you to go straight from this episode and listen to the full story with the nitty-gritty in episode 1. But basically, in a coconut shell, I married my middle school sweetheart, Jeremy. We've been married for just over 8 years. We have 2 beautiful boys, Bryson and Deacon. At the time I'm recording this, Bryson is 5. And literally at the time I'm recording this, Deacon turns 1 tomorrow. But by the time you're listening, he'll already be 1. We live in Hawaii because Jeremy's been in the Navy for over 10 years now, and I've lived here since we got married. Yeah, we're actually in a huge transitional year. 2017 is a game changer for us because he's separating from active duty, which is something we never would have imagined or thought possible or really even considered if I hadn't started my business just over 3.5 years ago. So the nutshell in my business is I started off feeling literally like a knock on the head to help people with communication. And I was working with folks one-on-one for the first 8 months and eventually created a course called A Course About Copy. And between A Course About Copy and a number of affiliate promotions, just because I've been able to build some really great relationships and trust and credibility with tens of thousands of entrepreneurs online, my business has generated over $1 million in under 3.5 years. And this is coming from, again, I'm saying highlight reel because you have to take this with a grain of salt. I mean, not that I want to diminish it. I think it's definitely something to work on. Like, it's a big deal. I want to celebrate that because it's like, no matter what, that's an amazing accomplishment. But it's very tempting, right, to compare, well, no, but the voices in my head saying, yeah, but Nikki, you haven't made $1 million in a year. Anyway, you might be rolling your eyes at me right now, but that's the truth. And I'll tell you more about the nitty gritty of how all that came to be in episode 1. But that's just a little bit of background so you know my family life and my business life, the Naptime piece and the Empire piece. I've built the Empire using A Course About Copy as my testing ground and my training wheels. And Naptime Empires, the idea for what is currently this podcast, came via divine download, maybe in 2014, definitely 2015 at the latest. Just the name, Naptime Empires, popped into my brain. And I didn't know what it was going to be or what form it would take. And so I kind of leaked it out there and I mentioned it when I was doing an interview with John Lee Dumas for his Freedom Journal launch last year. And I just kind of dropped it, just like a little tester. And I would get messages like, what is this Naptime Empires thing? What's it going to be? And I was like, I don't know. But eventually I did put a splash page up there just to ask. And that's when I ended up getting this survey. I stuck the survey on the thank you page and instantly within the first few days had hundreds of replies to this type form when I was saying, why are you doing this? You know, what makes it worth it right now? And what are your big frustrations and fears and concerns? And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, we've got to talk about this. We've got to talk about this. I know there are other people out there talking about moms and business and moms in business, but I just felt like a pull on my heart to start the conversation, which is why podcast made the most sense to start in this format. To have the conversation and to share the stories and the stuff that can't be Googled and just show you what it's like and what it can be like and what other people are doing, what's working for them, what's not working for them, and take you along the story and the journey of my own Naptime Empire as the game changes. When I started, my income was just bonus, extra, didn't really count. And now I'm about to be shifting to the role of primary breadwinner. So that's quite a journey. And I'm happy to take you along the ride. So now that I've told you a little about me, let's talk a little more about the podcast and what you can expect. In terms of who it's for, if you've ever taken any of my free training or a course about copy, you know that I always say write to one or speak to one. So I hope you'll excuse me, but I'm pretending like you're the only one in the room right now and that I'm just talking to you. And when I say you, for my own sanity, I do have to imagine that there's just one person. So the person that I'm talking to is someone who loves her work, loves her family, can't imagine life without either one. But at the same time, you're not really happy with how you're showing up in either one. And one of the biggest messages that you need and one of the biggest reminders that you need is to give yourself some grace, to open up to receive support, and to take ownership of the decisions and the choices that you can make to change and create the reality that you're experiencing. So I could get all demographic-y, but honestly, that's been a struggle because I'm like, well, what if she has a kick-ass business right now and the idea of starting her family is freaking her out because she doesn't want to F it all up? Or what if she doesn't have the business, it's just a twinkle in her eye and she has the kiddos and she left her work and now she's missing that passion piece and that identity aside from the kiddos. And so that's relevant too. What if she's not a she? What if she's a dude? What if she's a dad? What if she's not a mom yet? That's cool. And if that's the case, I want you to know you're totally welcome here, but I will default to mom speak because that is the one person that I'm imagining listening right now. So I want you to know that. If your babies are fur babies, if your babies have already graduated and you just want to hang out with us, or you love a Naptime Empire Builder, that's fine and you're welcome here. But for the purposes of the podcast, I'm just talking to you like there's just one. It's just me and you. So thank you for spending that time with me. In terms of what we're going to talk about, talk about parenthood, talk about business, but we'll also talk about relationships and health and mindset. Basically all the things. And I'll tell you about my story, right? It's my show. This is going to be something of creative expression, and I love to share stories and behind the scenes. So you'll play a role in letting me know what you like and what you want to listen to, but it's also going to be something that has to be fun for me because that is exactly the spirit that I'm creating this podcast with. In terms of how often, so we're launching with a few episodes. I'm thinking, so we'll do a season, by the way. One thing you got to know about me is I'm a bit of an overcommitment phobe. We're going to do a season. I don't know how long the season is going to be. I'm thinking we might start with 2 episodes a week. And one of those episodes will be a conversation that I've had with myself and one of my biz buddies, Naptime Empire Builders, and then one will be a solo show. That's the plan, but I may change it, may just do 1 a week. I don't know. I'll keep you posted. We'll see what works, what's resonating, and then we'll adapt and go from there. So I've told you more about me, my story. I've told you more about my vision for Naptime Empires. Now I would like to enlist your help and let you know your role in this whole experiment and in the conversation. I always say you can't communicate in a vacuum, which is why it feels so weird to be recording this episode and have no feedback yet to know what you think. I know that if you've been patiently waiting with me for the longest time, because I know it's taken me a while from actually mentioning Naptime Empires to getting this podcast into your earbuds, thank you for your patience. But this is for you and for me, and that's why I would love to invite you to join me in the discussion. Right now, at this moment, I have a free Facebook group called the Naptime Empires Playground. It's not a traditional Facebook group, and you'll see once you're in there, you can go to naptimeempires.com/Facebook to sign up, and I'll give you the link. But it's literally, for now, just a place to have discussions about each episode and to connect with other people who are in this phase of life. And I would love for you to join the discussion there so I can get your feedback and hear what you like, what you'd love to hear more of, who you'd love to hear more of, to have guests back on the show. I don't know. The world is our oyster. But seriously, no pressure, but pressure. Because I've been putting a lot on once I get the podcast out and once I get feedback, then I'll know what the next step's going to be. So seriously, I highly value your feedback. I would love to hear from you and to connect. Honestly, connection. It's my favorite thing. And then last, if you're enjoying it, I would love it if you would go review the show and share the show with our fellow Naptime Empire builders. So I'll give you all the links for everything and all the things at naptimeempires.com. That's where you can always go to find show notes, links. Basically, when all else fails, just go to home base, naptimeempires.com, and you'll find ways to connect with me, to share feedback, the links to the Facebook group, and all that goodness. And that's that, dude. I mean, let's just see where it goes. I've told you about me. I've told you about the vision. I've told you about the role that I would love for you to play if you would like to. My main thing is there's no one right way to raise a great human. And there's no one right way to grow a thriving, profitable, fun business. But it certainly does feel good to know that you're not the only one trying to do both at the same time. So I'm not trying to be an expert and to say I have this all figured out. I sure as H don't. But I do love talking about it. And I do love hearing about how other people are doing it and how other people are making it work. And that's my goal and my mission, is that when all else fails, if you're feeling a little down or discouraged or alone, that when you come to Naptime Empires and you find me in your podcast app or iTunes or on the site, wherever you're listening, that by the time you're done listening, you feel a little spark of encouragement and inspiration, and that you don't feel alone on this journey. That's my mission. I can't wait to hear what you think of these first few episodes. So head on over to episode 1, 2, 3. I set them up so that you could binge. And I can't wait to hear what you think. So I hope you have an amazing day wherever you are. Thank you for being part of this journey. I'll see you in episode 1. This show may be over, but the conversation is just beginning. Head on over to naptimeempires.com/Facebook so you can join my free... Did I say free? I meant priceless, rapidly growing community of Naptime Empire builders for deeper discussions, behind-the-scenes scoop, and of course, updates whenever I've got new stuff coming up for you. naptimeempires.com/Facebook. See you there.
See you next time. Thanks for listening.